There are times where you're going to feel really pissed off, feel really angry. You might feel hopeless or helpless or just totally pissed off.
Despair, yeah.
Despair, absolutely. The thing about when we can really be the vessel, the unconditionally loving, trusting, accepting vessel that experiences those emotions, they won't stick. They just move through and disappear and on to the next emotion and then on to the next emotion. Emotions are a wee bit like waves. When we let them just wave through us, that's where the intelligence and the guidance comes from.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Here we are again. I always say that, and here we are again. Greetings.
And then usually I sing, isn't that how it goes?
Yeah, that's right. Then you sing, and we say, welcome, listeners. This is Deb and Moira with deliciously motivating conversations. Well, we hope they are anyways. That's the intention, right?
Well, they bloody better be. They better be something that keeps people listening and learn from. Yeah. Hi, Moira. Hi, listeners.
Hello, everyone. I'm looking forward to our topic today because, and actually, I say that every time too. It's like my new favorite topic.
It is. When we talk about our topics, I actually do get a little bit juicy excited. I'm like, oh, this is a goodie. Oh, this is a goodie. Oh, this is my new favorite. Yeah, absolutely. So this is my new favorite for today then.
Yes,
okay.
For today. And we hope they are for you too. We hope that you get that and you giggle and laugh at our sillinesses too.
And the listeners are going, would you just tell us the topic? No,
no,
you have to guess the topic.
Not yet. Not yet. We're going to keep you in suspenders for a moment.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
No, before we do go into telling you what our topic is today, we like to do this thing where we just all land in this moment and just have a wee check-in. How are you doing? On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being kind of not very good at all, and 0 being nothing triggering you, nothing bothering you. Where would you say you are, Deb, on a scale of 0 to 10?
Do we do it this way around or do we do it the other way around?
No, we do it that way.
10, do we? Okay.
10 is being, like, if you were anxious, 10 is
10's a big lump of poo.
Anxious.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay, that's it. Anxious. Okay, so I'm probably, I'm pretty centered and balanced today.
Good.
Pretty centered and balanced, and workload's definitely increasing. So I've got a few strategies in place to put those in. But no, I feel complete. So I would probably say
nothing's bothering you.
Yeah, well, there's a few little niggles. So maybe 2 off the top. So that's a 2. Oh, that's a 2.
That's a 2.
A 2? Mm-hmm. A 2. Okay, perfect. It's a 2.
Good. And so you know, and I'm listening to you and paying attention to you and kind of really feeling into me. And I would say mine is fluctuating a fair bit at the moment. I would say I'm going to put myself around a 3 or 4. And I think it's because there's so much uncertainty around. And so I was having a conversation with a friend the other day that we were talking about just being really honest with how you're feeling. And I'm feeling sad right now, or I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling, and so this is what I'm saying is I feel like that the times are changing. We are in really differing times, mentally and emotionally. And so to pin a number. It's like, I do have a little bit of niggly. You said that, a few niggly things. So that's where I'm going to put myself. It's not, to me, I'm not going to get really upset about anything that's lower than a 5, because probably our conversation will bring me back to that sense of balance. So
yeah, I think yes, you're right, and I think it's just a time. Today's topic is perfect for what's for everything around, of course. But I would just say probably my workload. I'm going, how many more minutes in the day can I get things done? But also it depends on, what you've eaten. Have you had fresh air? Have you been inside? Has someone challenged you? Did you have a decent sleep? Are you drinking your water? Are your toxins that you're putting in your body, how toxic are they? All those things depends on.
To take deep breaths every so often.
Hand on your heart and just breathe. Take a moment. So all those things will be a catalyst to your rating of where you are right now.
And if I had sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, if I had a crap sleep, I would definitely be further down the chain of rating myself.
Yes, or higher up the scale. Higher up the volatility scale.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
But I like you just said, hand on your heart, because that's what we wanted to talk about today is unconditional love. So, my dear, how would you describe unconditional love?
Harmonious, humbleness, gratitude, letting go of the outcome.
Beautiful.
Just being present. And when I say present, it's not like we say be present. So present right here, right now, as I talk right now, and not worry about a minute later, I want to get a message across. It's actually that present right here, unconditional love and acceptance of who I am.
I love it. That's really beautiful.
I think that's it.
It's really beautiful. I completely agree with you, but the other pieces in here that I would add to that in my own way of looking at it is there is no space for judgment or labeling or expectations or agenda. No agendas in unconditional love.
Yeah.
Actually, that reminds me of one of my teachers many years ago. He told us that he would never offer his own family healing. This is one of the healing modalities that I've trained in, and he would not give or offer his own wife or children healing because he would have an agenda. He would want them healed. And right there, he said, I can't be that unconditional or that neutral, because that's the other part of unconditional love, right? Is neutral. It's what we, of course. It's what we all, at the core level, it's what we all want, and it's what we all deserve. But that was always stuck with me. That whole thing of checking yourself, because you cannot do anything for somebody else with your own agenda.
No, and you absolutely can't. And I think I'm the same, because I've been brought up, from my mentor saying you can't be the prophet in your own home. And I understand that. And I know, with my daughter, I would say things and she wouldn't listen. And I'd be like, oh my God, why do you not get this? But then a complete stranger would say, why don't you do this? And she'd go, oh, what a wonderful idea. And she'd come home and she'd go, Mum, so-and-so suggested this. And I think I've been saying that for 3 flipping years. Are you serious? But as long as you get the message, and it is that whole being the prophet in your own home. And I do have an agenda, because I don't want, as much as I don't want to wrap her in bubble wrap, I do want to protect her from the whoopsies that I've had in life, and not allow her to go through that, even though I know those whoopsies have brought me to who I am. But we do want to wrap our children and those we care for, we want to short track their learnings, basically.
Right. But that is agenda, and that is putting
that is an agenda
on, right?
Those
Absolutely. Are conditions. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so
but I've never thought about the agenda. I've never thought about the agenda. And it's interesting because when people say to me, can you talk to so-and-so? Can you talk to my husband? Can you fix my husband? Can you fix my wife? Can you talk to this? Can I fix him? And I actually make a point of actually going, let's talk to you. Let's work with you. Let's do a couple of sessions with you and see what unfolds. Because clearly the partner or whoever they want, quote, fixed, as I put my fingers in the air, they don't even know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, I don't know why I need to talk to you. I'm like, well, because your wife's about ready to leave you. Right. So wake up. Right. Oh, is she? I didn't know about that. Although that's not, I wouldn't actually say that. But then it's actually the person who's come to me to say, I want you to fix my child, or I want you to do this or whatever, because they have that agenda as well.
I completely agree with you. And that has happened a lot of times in my own practice too. I have a 2-part response to people that do that. First one is, like you, the conversation is going to be about what's going on with you.
Yeah.
The second part is, I am willing to see that partner or that child or that other person, but they have to ask.
Oh yeah, I've got that as well. Yeah, right? If need be. Yeah.
It's because I'm never going to say, no, I can't see your partner, or no, I can't have your partner, because I don't know. I might.
Yeah.
But they have to come and say, there's an issue and I need you to help me have a look at how can I best deal with this.
Well, I think that's the other thing is, we talk about unconditional love. That's exactly it, because we look at that and we say, can you fix, and I'm just going to say, fix your husband. It's much easier in my mind. Can you fix my husband? And if you actually unconditionally love the husband, the way they are and the way they're communicating to you and the actions they're giving you right now, and you see the absolute beauty and gratitude in who they are, that's unconditional love. So you don't need to fix anybody for anything. So there is no agenda. You just love them for who they are.
Right. That's that unconditional love is the total acceptance. Well, there's that other word, acceptance. The acceptance.
That big word. Yeah.
Acceptance that everybody is truly where they're supposed to be in their own evolution, their own development, their own becoming, their own aligning with their soul, aligning with their soul's purpose or their life mission or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just because we can look at, and we all are, if I can look at somebody who's maybe not at the same level of thinking as I am, does that make me better or worse than them? And vice versa. It's just, it just all is different parts of the sort of prism that we're all part of, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, unconditional love, I'm going to bring in that word trust because it is that acceptance and trust of knowing what's happening is perfect for you right now, is perfect for them right now, and is perfect collaboration together to know that we are one. And whatever is going on right now is the perfect timing and the perfect realizations and the perfect lessons for you now. And if you choose not to see those as perfection or gratitude or acceptance or balance or that, you'll get the next level. That snowball will come down and it will be bigger at the next level and the next level and the next level. But trust is a big one that does go hand in hand with that unconditional love.
It completely does. It completely does. So it brings to mind that let's say you're in a situation of disharmony, like there was differing opinions or people had different ideas of how to deal with something, or different opinions about politics or about how a business situation was to go. With unconditional love, you're not going to necessarily get involved in trying to prove any of them wrong or try and get them to your way of thinking. You're just and that's what acceptance and trust allows us to say. I accept that there are many disparate, different attitudes and protocols and ideas and processes going on around me. I can get to harmony by just being love and accepting everything and trusting that things are all going to work out the right way.
Yeah.
right? Trusting that.
Which is massive for some people. And today we can trust and unconditionally love, and tomorrow we can go to absolute despair and hatred.
Oh, yes.
Just, it's just so quickly, just like that. And I think, I'm just going to bring up the word feelings here because it keeps coming into my mind. We have to, it's wise to trust our feelings and know they're coming up for a reason, but be aware of your feelings and go, is this really important? Is this an old story that's come in? What's going on? And it's that gratitude to be right here, right now. And that's going to give you the unconditional love, not just for others of who they are, but for yourself for feeling that feeling, for bringing that emotion up, for acknowledging, being aware, and accepting that feeling and going from that, and then that trust that it's going to be okay. And that's all around the unconditional love.
I completely agree with you.
Of not hiding from anything or trying to shut it down, like, I haven't got time for you, go away.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You
Yes,
probably do that for 24 hours, maybe, if that. But
it'll fester and explode some other way.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you, and I like that you brought up feelings, because when we unconditionally love ourselves, we do need to do it to ourselves first. That's the only way.
Yes, ourselves and others. Yeah. Absolutely.
Then we can unconditionally love all those around us. But with this, it doesn't mean that we're all buttercups and roses and unicorns.
skip through the daisies. Yes.
There are times where you're going to feel really pissed off, feel really angry. You might feel hopeless or helpless or just totally pissed off.
Despair, yeah.
Despair, absolutely. The thing about when we can really be the vessel, the unconditionally loving, trusting, accepting vessel that experiences those emotions, they won't stick. They just move through and disappear, and on to the next emotion, and then on to the next emotion. Emotions are a wee bit like waves. When we let them just wave through us, that's where the intelligence and the guidance comes from. Yeah. When we get into our head and, oh my God, I'm supposed to be spiritually elevated and I don't have these little pity parties or cussing fits or whatever it is that we do, right? And so that's why, to me, emotions provide us with such excellent intel about the choices we've made. And when we unconditionally love ourselves, we just witness them and say, in this moment, I'm feeling ... right?
It's that judgment we have on ourselves, because we definitely have it on others, but our judgment of our own mind, we beat ourselves up way more than we beat other people up.
Gosh, yes.
Unless you're self-righteous or high and mighty, but even then you're only projecting it, because internally you're definitely beating yourself up. Yeah. If you really get real about it, you are going, well, I'm comparing myself to someone else, and that's why I'm berating them for what they've done or not done, but in reality we all know it's all back to our own goddamn mirror.
Well, it is that you're reminding me of that quote, and I actually don't know where this comes from, but it's the sentiment of it is basically, what is it in you that's pissing me off that I can't deal with in myself?
Yeah.
So when we see something that really irritates or aggravates us that somebody else is doing, it's time to pause. And this is a good time to put your hand on your heart and just say, what did that trigger that I can't see in me, that I'm not allowing myself to admit, to process, to evaluate, or to just shift through?
And even though we say we don't have time to look at that, just see what it is. Take 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Take that moment, stop, breathe, see what it is, then hold on to that. And then carry on with your day, and know when you've got time later on that evening or that morning or something to take that time and work through that. But at that moment, as soon as you acknowledge it in your own soul, your head and your soul, that, that's what it is. It's because of something that's happened. Now I can park it and I can deal with it later, but you must deal with it.
Yep.
I don't know if my voice raised then. You must deal with it.
You must.
You
and
must.
She points at you. No, that's brilliantly said. And I actually say this exact same thing to my clients, because here's the thing, is when you admit it and acknowledge it, there is that emotion, or there's that feeling. It doesn't have a hold on us anymore.
Yeah.
And then so it just by acknowledging it and then saying, okay, the piece that I do encourage people to do is to do it within 24 hours. You don't want to be leaving it for days. So it's like, if that happens during the day, then you want to make sure before you go to bed, you just sit and maybe journal it or speak it out, or do some kind of visualization, or I'm a big EFT tapper, emotion freedom technique tapping. It's a great way to help just flow through that.
Just
emotion.
Do something about it.
Exactly.
Don't bury it under the bed covers.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't put the lid on it. And it is that within 24 hours, do it.
Yes.
And because it just gets, the lessons we get, they just come bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you've had a public, and I'm going to say public humiliation or something, and someone's talked about it, and it's, and other people have got involved, so it's not just you, and, it's just going to get bigger. So if one person's talked about it, if you don't deal with it, it's going to go to a group, and then it's going to go to a public group, and then it's going to go to a forum, or it's going to get, trust me, it's going to get bigger and bigger. And people know that. But how many times do we just go, oh, I'll deal with it later? Well, look, it can take you just a couple of minutes just to deal with it and just go, how's this serving me right now? What is this doing? It's made me look at it. It's made me actually have gratitude to the last person who brought this to my attention, or whatever you want to use. You use your tapping, whatever tool people use, as long as you use something.
Yeah,
all tools are useful if you actually believe in them and trust in them and do them.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Something that I was just thinking when you were saying that there, Deb, was that when we have a situation like you just said, where we've got an issue or an emotion that we don't want to deal with and we keep putting it off, that is one of the worst ways for us to achieve totally conditional love, right? But it's also communicating to our own self that we're not worthy. We are not worthy of our own unconditionally loving self that says, I'm going to carve out a moment of time to deal with this, to face it, to do what I need to do to discharge it, to get the wisdom or the learning or the perspective, right? It's very important inner relating for each of us.
Well, I go back to the, you hear the flight crew, the cabin crew, and they say, put your own oxygen mask on first before you help children or older people.
Yeah.
And you actually have to, because they say, you can't fill your own cup up. You can't serve others if your cup's not full. And we just go, oh, quickly do this for someone else. I'll do this for someone else. I'll do this. And I've got 2 things to do tonight, but I've done 20 things for everyone else, and I can't get to those 2 things because I'm exhausted. Do your stuff. I know other people are important, but you know what? They're just as important. But if you're not important, if you don't put yourself as number 1 priority, I'm not saying leave your kids outside until you've had your shower and, like any of that sort of stuff. I just had this visualizing that I'm just going to go, my kids, you can just stay here in the sandpit while I go have my shower and get myself ready for the day. It's not about that. It's actually just making sure everyone's safe. But if you have to put yourself as number 1. You
Absolutely.
are number 1. I don't understand why people don't, and they say it's selfish. It's like, no, it's not selfish. It's actually just allowing them to be, and they have to live their life. You just perceive they're selfish because you've been bumped down the pecking order, but put yourself as number 1. And that's the unconditional love, because if you don't love yourself for the choices you make, the actions you make, the things you say or do or don't do, no one else is going to love you for who you are. And those ones who don't love you for that are not the ones that you want to have in that circle around.
Well, they're not unconditionally loving you anyway.
So and they're not unconditionally loving themselves.
No, exactly. But I think it's really important here to get into that place. So this selfish word, I don't like this word selfish. I think we've become too indoctrinated, and this is because of the masculine way of creation. It's like you either do it or you don't. Like, you can't be selfish. Yeah, you have to put yourself first. The key piece is you must. It is your absolute top priority to put yourself first in order to be of highest and best service to anyone and everyone. I thought it was really interesting a moment ago when you just said about the message you get on airplanes. You said you put your oxygen mask on yourself before children and older people. Do you know, for years I always thought that's what they said, but they don't.
Do they not say that?
They don't. They say,
I hear what I want to hear.
Anyone. Before anyone. Because so it's really funny because we kind of translate it.
I've always thought it was children and older people.
So did I.
And I like that they put children before older people.
Okay. But you see here, the thing is, so it's like, I have to put it before children who need us to do things, and then older people. But it's anybody. So the key piece is, what good are you to anybody? It doesn't matter who they are. Strangers, people you know, people you love, it doesn't matter. You first. Your oxygen mask first. And if you think about it, let's say in the result of a catastrophe, you want to be of service to anybody who needs you, not just the children and the older people, anybody.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I know, that was quite a big moment for me because I used to say it for years. It's like, children and older people.
I do say it. I do. Well, I'm not going to be flying for a while now anyway, but I fly quite a bit. I fly, probably 3 or 4 times a month.
I bet if you paid attention next time you fly, pay attention, listen to what because we all tune it out, right? It's like, I've listened to that before. But it was me working through this process that I just decided to listen to it. And I was like, oh my God, I always thought they said children and older people.
But it makes sense. What you're saying is making sense. Like, it is anyone. It's not just children and older people. I know growing up, when I had my child, my family and people were just like, your daughter goes first. Your daughter's number one priority before any part. I mean, I was a single mum, before any partner for anyone. And I'm like, no, I am number one.
Yep.
And I used to argue with people about that. And I mean, my family, we all laugh and we say, Deborah's the selfish one. And I used to say selfless until I realized that I get the word wrong. So, no, it's selfless. What do you mean selfish? I'm definitely selfless. And they're like, no, Deborah, you're not. I'm like, I used to get the 2 words around the wrong way.
I love that. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot.
Until my daughter actually said, let's Google selfish and selfless. I'm like, no, I know what it is. And then I was like, And I'd obviously just been programming myself saying, I'm selfless. Like, I didn't even, whoopsie, and giggling, big joke in the family. But I would have to serve myself first. I would have to make sure I was okay. And I was a very firm believer on that. But it is that upbringing that's selfish. That's selfish. You can't do that. I mean,
we have to unhook that. We have to undo that.
Yeah. Well, it's not that I would only serve myself dinner if I had no money and not my daughter. You'd share, but clearly, you do have to look after yourself, because if you're not functioning, how can you look after anyone else? And even if you don't want to look after anyone else, you have to function.
Exactly.
You're not responsible. No one else is responsible for you, but bloody you. You. Yeah.
So, this is a conversation that I've had with many, many, in particular, female clients over the years, is that what I believe is that when we go for long enough saying kids first, husband first, everybody else around me first before me. And believe me, this is how I used to live my life, was everybody else first. They're more important than me. And if I have time, I'll do some self-care if I have time. But of course you never do.
And I think that's it, if I have time.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and it's so funny, because anytime I've had this conversation with clients and just friends and over the years, is resentment starts. We start to resent the people that we serve when we're serving from an empty cup, because damn it, look at all the things, the sacrifices I've done, and I've given myself over to creating this home for you, or these meals for you, or doing this service for you, or whatever.
I've given you my last breath, and you've just shat on me,
and you just expected it all. You never even say thank you. You don't see all the wonderful things I do. So the key piece is, I believe, and I've actually witnessed this in myself and other people who really get this, is that to the degree that I put all of my needs first, I can service and help those people so much more capably, confidently, easily, and more, to a higher degree. Because I've got the energy, I have the mental, emotional, physical strength and capacity to do it. So that's why I really have this thing that I don't like that word selfish, because let's face it, there is people who are selfish. There are people that would say, well, okay, I'm having this steak and you can have porridge, or right.
Well, that selfishness can also come with a little bit of entitlement.
Yes.
You know, that, okay, well, I've brought the money into the house, so I'm going to have the extra potato.
I deserve this.
You know, and that entitlement is can come from that selfishness. But you know, you just have to look after number one, and you are number one. I was just thinking, my one of my mentors, he has drummed it into people that you pay yourself first. Yes. And people go, yeah, but I've got bills and I've got a mortgage and I've got this, and there's not enough money. But when you start actually paying yourself first, and whether you pay yourself $2 a week, put that into a bank account that never gets touched, that gets increased every 3 months, whether you pay yourself $10 a week, whether you pay yourself 50 cents, you're paying yourself something that you think you're worth, and then you pay the bills. And once you get your head around it, and you start going, oh my gosh, I'm actually worthy of getting myself 50 cents a week, even if it is 50 cents or whatever, or $1, you're actually paying yourself, acknowledging yourself that you're worthy of getting a form of payment. The money does flow. The money does come in. You do have enough money for other bills, but you have to acknowledge yourself first. And I hear people when they argue about that, and they go, oh, I can't pay myself first. I can't, I've got no money. And it's just whether you pay yourself 50 cents, $1, you're just saying, I'm worthy of something.
Yes.
And even if it is just $1, you're actually, I'm worthy of paying myself.
Yeah,
I'm
worthy of paying myself.
Absolutely. It's just the acknowledging that I am worthy of receiving some form of money from my income that's going to me, not, oh, I have to pay this for the car, and I have to pay the groceries, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. You do have money at the end of the day for everything. But paying everybody else first, and then there's nothing for you, is your poverty mindset, and that's not unconditional love. It's your abundance, whether it's wealth in the bank or your health, or your friend circle, or whatever. We've all got that around us, and so it's that unconditional love to accept ourselves and just know you're doing the best you can for what you've got right now.
And then bring trust into that too.
To trust that it's going to be okay.
It's all going to be okay. And sometimes that requires trust. To me, requires saying, you know what, I might not be able to see the solution or the way through this, but I know it's there, or I'll recognize it when it shows up, or I know everything's, taking place in the exact right way it's supposed to. That mindset that you're just, that poverty mindset, that's based in fear and coming from our head, our chattery mind, which makes up stories all the freaking time, right?
old patterns, and it's from what other people have said. I had to giggle. I said to my daughter the other day when we were having a walk, she said something. She said, "Oh," I said to her, you've got a little bit of poverty mindset." Well, she was a chiropractic's dream, the way she spun around and looked at me and gave me the look of death. She said, "I don't have a poverty mindset." And she's 19. And I said, "Well, you do, because you told me you only had $3 in your bank account and you couldn't afford something." She said, "I've never had $3 in my bank account." I said, "Well, then you lied to me." Anyway, so it became this heated discussion. But it was interesting because she saves and she puts a lot of savings into her savings. But, then she goes, "Oh, I can't afford that," or "I can't afford that," or "I can't afford that." And I said, when you say that, you're actually reprogramming. So it became a little bit of a heated discussion, but she has just in the last week has started reframing what she said. So it's clearly landed in her mind.
Good.
And, and she's still putting savings in her savings. Don't get me wrong with that, Nana, in case you happen to be listening. She's definitely still saving. I haven't told her not to. But it's the way she's wording things like, "Oh, I can't afford that," or "I can't afford that," because this is not unconditional love.
No.
When you say, "I can't afford that," or "I can't do that," or whatever, it's and that's the thing is, "Oh, I can afford that if I choose to do it. Is it really important to me?" And it's just that little shift in wording of flicking her mindset. So it will be interesting going back in a couple of days and just seeing, or even a week, and just seeing how she is and what she's saying, and etc. So I'm just watching this one. It'll be a work in progress, but her mindset has definitely shifted in that, because it's unconditional love of, "Oh, I have no money, I can't afford that," or "I can't afford that," when you actually can, so
should you
love
choose
what you have. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that is, I love that. It is so important to realize we are always at choice, regardless of what's going on.
And that's not that selfish choice.
No.
Or selfless. It just is.
Yes.
Which is your balance and your poised.
And being present. Being in the present moment, saying, for right now, I'm choosing not to buy it, or I'm choosing to buy it. That's it.
Yeah.
Right here, right now. It's not I can't afford it, or I can afford it. It's just right now I'm choosing.
It's just being. Just be. That's exactly it. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Yeah. Unconditional love is just such an interesting one that, someone called me a healer the other day, and I said, "I'm not a healer." And then I went, "Oh, okay, yep, you could see me as a healer. Yes, I will accept that a little bit." But, we as healers, I say it, announce it, to help people, I get so frustrated and so down when I see people who don't look after themselves, and, they just want to stay in their place. And that's disheartening for me. And I'm just like, you know what? They're not ready to hear whatever message they're ready to hear, and they just want to get to like a little level. And that's okay. And their unconditional love is different to my unconditional love. And being aware that everybody has different levels, and not judging that person for their level, and that's really hard for me, just to go, "Oh my gosh, you have all the opportunities, you have all the tools in front of you. Why are you not doing this? Why are you allowing this to be?" And it's trusting that they're in the best place at the best time right now, while they love themselves the best way that they can.
Absolutely. And the other part too is that just because you can see it doesn't mean that they're available to see it just yet. So to me, with this unconditional love, I can plant seeds. But if I start getting upset that they can't see how to love themselves better, then I just put conditions on it.
Well, that's exactly it. I've then gone into judgment.
Yeah.
And you said at the start, about my hidden agenda, my agenda.
Yeah.
I've then got an agenda.
Yeah. Exactly. And that was such a huge breakthrough for me. That was over 20 years ago that I had that. I was training. That was actually somatic emotional release work that I was learning at that point. And so that was like really looking at clearing emotions out of our body. And so we cannot have agendas. And so I like to, if I meet people where I can see, here's somebody that's stuck in their stuff, and you present them an idea of here's a tool or technique, and they say, no, that wouldn't work. then for me, energetically, I'm just going to leave the seat there and say, I love you.
Yeah,
that's it.
Opt out.
It's nothing to do with me. And whether that person gets it or not, that's then their choice. Back to that choice thing, right?
Yeah. Acceptance. And that is that. Yeah.
Well, this has been an awesome conversation, my dear. And I wonder it would be nice for us all, listeners and us, to check back in on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 having no emotional charge or anything to work on, and 10 being like, oh my God, I'm still off the charts. Where would you put yourself now?
I would probably say I've gone down a level, or not towards the wholesome level, gone
Not
down because because I have now just gone to, where am I not accepting things? I've just created more work for myself, basically. I've gone, okay, so where have I not accepted things? Where have I had judgment on people? Where am I not loving myself? Where am I not putting myself as a priority? So my mind is racing of things, and today will be a day to, in fact, I'm going to say a week. I'm not realistic. I'm not going to go through everything, but I definitely will start being aware again of what's happening around me, and so it's just grounded me. So I would say it's increased my workload, but it's an okay workload that I can increase. It's going to be a beautiful process.
Absolutely. So, and you deserve it.
Yeah.
So for myself, I started off, I think, at sort of a 3 or 4, and I would say I'm at a 2. And I think at this point too, it's just kind of, and to what you're saying too, I just put my hand over in my heart and say, I'm worth it. I love me. And any of these things that we need to do to feel more loving, we deserve it. You deserve your unconditional love of self.
Yes.
Yes.
My mind's going tick, 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 tick. Yes.
Well, that's the whole point, is, see, love doesn't come from your mind. Love comes from your heart. So when our head goes tick, 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 it's like, thank you. You go sit in the corner for a wee while I just
be.
Oh,
thank you, Moira, for today. What a goodie topic. We're going to say it's going to be a great topic, the next one.
Absolutely. And we're going to say our next one is our favorite too.
Yeah. Favorite for the day. And thank you, listeners, for listening in, and give us some feedback.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to hear us talk about? Any questions you've got? Throw them in the page. Let us know. Let us know what you do to unconditionally love yourself.
Yeah.
What's going on.
Did this shift your ideas about it in any way?
Yeah. Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you, Deb. Thanks, listeners.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
See ya. Bye.